kind of reminded me when Kobe and Shaq did that 1-on-1, and they like sitting like super close like this.
Yeah.
Like it made me feel like that though.
What's up, everybody? What's going on? I'm Denzel from Growing Painz podcast, and today it's my first guest on my podcast. So help me introduce my guy Princeton, local guy, local coach. Been knowing him for a couple of years. Very genuine dude. So I'm very thankful that he was able to come and speak to me today. So what's up, man? How you doing?
Man, doing good, man. Doing good. I'm glad that we actually got a chance to do this, man. I know we talked about it, so I'm excited that we actually getting this off, and it's really bringing me joy right now.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. What we gonna do?
Doing pretty good today?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing good.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, man.
So I'm Princeton Blanchard, man. I served in the military for 8 years. I obviously graduated from Southwind. Once I joined the military, I got my bachelor's degree in human resources, and then after that, I was transitioning out of the military. So as I was transitioning out, I knew that I had a purpose in my life to do something more impactful, because I knew that I wanted to help people, but the HR realm, you only can do so much. You can, help somebody with their pay, help somebody with any of their HR needs, but it was something bigger, right? So life coaching was what it was for me. So one of my friends, he was like, man, like, you should go into life coaching. Yeah. And I was like, is that really a degree for that? Like, a degree? He was like, yeah, man, it's actually a degree and everything. It's counseling based, but it's actually a degree and everything. I said, okay, cool. So after that, I applied for it, got into school and everything. So I just graduated last year. I got my master's in counseling with it.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, man. So at that point, when I was doing my master's class, it was like all of my papers and stuff they would do, it was stuff I already done before. So it was like, it was really simple. Yeah, it was a repetition. So they would say, yeah, you do write a paper about how you help someone, or how can you help somebody through a hard time, whatever. And all of them things I've done, I've helped so many people. So it's like, oh man, let me think about this time when I did this, or this time when I did that. So it was pretty seamless though. But once I did that, got my degree, man, and now I'm just full-fledged, doing my life coaching, helping people and motivating people and stuff like this. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm very proud of you, man, and keep up the good work. And it is all about, helping other people and getting them where they need to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you got somebody that helped you get where you got.
Yeah, so a lot of people, a lot of mentors throughout my time, for sure.
So tell us a little bit, got your inspiration on why you became a coach.
My inspiration, it kind of thrived a little bit from my life. It's things that you do when you're young that you don't know exactly what it may be, because you just a child. So when I was younger, I was in a whole bunch of different program stuff. I was in choir. I was doing all these different speeches and stuff, Langston Hughes form and all this stuff. Doing all of this stuff, and I'm 8 years old, right? So it's I'm super young doing this. So at that point, me being the older self, man, I was gifted young to speak to the masses and stuff like that, and I was comfortable in it. It was I was fine. I remember this one time. I remember one time I was in school, man, and the Andre 3000 song, "Hey Y'all," right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was a big Andre 3000 fan. So the day of the actual event, my teacher told us day before, don't make sure you wear the clothes for your performance after lunch or whatever, right? So tell me why it's 3 of us doing this song. Yeah. So it mean that if one of us ain't doing it, somebody gotta make up. So we all don't listen. This messed up. So I get to school the next day. The 2 other people supposed to do the song with me, they all actually wore their clothes, the field day type clothes, not the uniform.
Man.
So they was like, Princeton, I need to do the whole song. Yeah. The whole song? I was the whole song for real?
Yeah,
so y'all was under pressure. So now mind you, it's a live band performance. So it's just me, it's gonna be the beat, and there's ain't no, like it is now where you can play the music in the background. Nah, it's straight up me and the verses, and that was it. So I get to the performance and stuff, man, and I was shaking in the beginning. I was man, I can't believe I do this then. As soon as I heard that first beat, that 1, 2, 3, I did it, man, and this is one of them highlight moments of my life, because I'm if I could do that young, imagine the 30-year-old me now and what my potential, what I can do exactly. Because at that point I didn't know there was a gift of mine. I just knew there was something that I had to do, but I didn't know that like it was something that affected the man. Like the people, them kids that I was singing to, they was hype and excited and stuff. So that's one of the things I recognized is that, and it helped me kind of cultivate what it was. But once I got to the military and understanding the people that was in my life and the people I talked to, at that point I was like, okay, well, I'm helping people every day almost without knowing what this is. Like people calling me saying, hey man, I need advice on this, or can you help me with this, blah blah, and all of that stuff. So when that stuff happens, it has me feel like, well, I'm not like a guidance counselor and like that. I'm a friend, but I'm also an accountability person. So what is the medium between that, right? So that's where the coaching came in. So it was like, oh man, like I'm the dude you come to in the full quarter, 30 seconds left. You coming to me, you know what I'm saying? You coming to me with this. So I tell you, hey, this is the best way to get to this goal. You know, this, it may look difficult, but this is what you do. So that's when I was like, yeah, that's it. It clicked. Once it clicked, that was it. Nothing at that point was like halting me from pursuing that dream, because it was like I already know this now. So now I just got to get my intellectual capital, which is get my master's degree. I know people may believe, and a lot of people believe it's like, degrees now are not as worth much because of where we're at, right? But and sometimes when you're in a business mindset, you have to also understand that you got to have your intellectual capital, whatever that may be. That can be the degree, the certificate. They can be also the experience, the 10 years experience, whatever it is. All of this intellectual capital that's going to help you be set apart from your peers. And that's one thing that military taught me. Exactly. One thing military did teach me, how you set yourself apart, what makes you different. It's like the first question you get out the gate. Like when you a person is in there for some years or whatever, and you competing for promotion, they gonna say, yeah, so what's the difference between you and Denzel? And you may not know I may not know what you're doing, but I know what I've done. Like I know that I got my degrees. I know that I've done above and beyond. So, and I know that I do this because this is who I am. It's not for this promotion statement. So things like that help me believe like, yeah, man, I'm definitely in this realm, and this is what it's gonna be. So.
And I think I took from everything you said. I think when you were under pressure, it made you into a diamond. And then everything that you've experienced over your years, even being in the military, prepared you for this, ability to be able to speak to people and help them and encourage them and get through the things that they get through.
Exactly. So, iron sharpens iron, man. That's biblical right there.
Let me see. What are some of your goals that you have for you would say the next couple years, 2 years, 5 years?
For me, my biggest goal is just consistency right now. For me, I think consistency is one of the pillars of anything that you do. Just like any job, you got to work 5 days out of the week, right, to get considered full time. So I have to put that same energy into my brand. Like work is hard as that, So for me, just building consistency, and once the consistency comes, I'll be able to build up on the following and everything else. But I'm not going to. I was just talking to my friend this morning about this. It was like I can't focus on the things out of my control. I can't control who press follow.
You stress yourself out.
It's like I can't control who press subscribe. I can't control that. All that I control is what I put out there, and the frequency I do it, and when I do it. I can control all of that, but I can't control everything else. So I just take it in net light. So that's my goal. Hopefully one day a podcast, but mainly just being consistent on social media with YouTube, making sure that the message that I'm taking and giving to people is helping someone, at least one person, man. Like I've been getting feedback from people, and these are people that don't don't do the likes and stuff on social media, but they'll tell me in person, like, hey man, you are actually doing this, like you helped me and all of this stuff.
And like
so
we was talking at the restaurant the other day, like you never know who be watching.
You never know who's watching, you never know. So that's my biggest thing, is just making sure I'm consistent and making sure that I'm being intentional with what I'm doing, because if I'm not intentional with what I'm doing, and I see it as a something that's not my purpose, at that point it's gonna reflect. Like you seen that person is doing so, they're doing so much stuff, but they not having no, it's nothing focused. Like they're doing everything. Like you like, oh man, doing this, doing that, whatever. But you like the master of none. So what are you really good at? versus what you know how to do.
Exactly.
It's two different things. Because I know how to do a lot of things, but I know what I'm good at and what I'm great at. So I focus on that because I'm great at this piece. Because I'm going to focus in and hone in from there. But those really the goals right now, though. Just really consistency and foundation and intention.
Yeah, I think too, definitely when you focus on one thing and be great at that, I think everything else will start to flourish.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Because you gotta have a root to something. You can't grow a lot of plants and expect any of them to have any roots. So I feel like the root comes from one thing and then it sprouts into a lot of different things.
Yep, exactly. You gotta always bear that good fruit and make sure that you put it out there good, because you'll get the benefits of it.
So I guess my next question, going into the mental health part, before we get to the next segment, do you have any advice for anybody that is wanting to get into coaching?
I think the best advice I can give is know who you are, like know yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, you won't be able to help anybody else, because your focus will be just trying to improve a part of yourself that you don't know about. But if you know who you are and know why you were put here, and you know why you were put here was to coach people and to help people become better, at that point you understand everything else. It's like it's just gonna click. So I always tell people, just you have to be intentional and you have to understand your purpose. Them are the two biggest things. Because if you don't know your purpose and you don't know you're intentional, you don't know what you're being intentional about, you won't have any focus. So I mean, when you're doing that coaching session and you talking about something random, there's nothing. They came here to ask you how to how to save money, or how to not have anxiety, and you talking about something way different. That's because you don't even know how you control your own personal anxiety. So you can't help nobody with anxiety. You don't know your practices. Like you ask me about anxiety right now, and I can say, yeah, man, make sure you breathe, make sure you do these meditation techniques, blah blah. I can go into that, and it can help you. But if I don't even know how to control my own stuff, how can I even coach anybody else? And then you can even take it from a rational standpoint, how these basketball coaches, and you have the football coaches of the teams. A lot of these people coming in and new, like they really don't know. They've been around coaches, but when you get them a team around them, you see teams fail, you see teams succeed and stuff. But when they're in them realms, they're learning still. They're still learning like their coaching techniques on themselves. Like, dang, so I said this to Kyrie, but it didn't motivate Kyrie, but it motivated Durant. So like you understand all this as you go. So, but those are the biggest things. Like you get that down, it really ain't gonna be nothing.
And I think everything is a learning experience. So I don't think anybody ever stops learning unless they tell themselves to stop learning.
Yeah, after the age, it's research out there. After the age of 25, everything that you do is you have to tell yourself to do. So like, if you don't, so like. If you dating somebody that's over 25, right, and you telling them, stop doing something, right? Let's say they like having their shoes off outside. If they've been doing it since they were 8 years old, and you telling them now at 25 to stop wearing wearing socks outside, it's gonna take time for them to do that, but they have to tell themselves to do it. It's a neurological thing at that point. But when they're children and stuff like that, they can easily be molded. But when you're 25, it's like, you gotta tell yourself, I gotta do. That's why when I tell people about the gym and everything, going to the gym is cool. But at 25, you have to literally tell yourself, I'm gonna go. You have. It's not just waking up having fun, because when you're young, I'm gonna go do it. But now you gotta actually be like, hey man, alright, I'm gonna go.
Your muscles be hurting, you don't feel like getting up.
Most artists, and then you and let's say you didn't work out for 5 years, something like that. Like, it's harder to do that. That's why when you go to the gyms now, you don't see nobody in there 70 and 80 and stuff like that. But you see online sometimes somebody 70, 80 doing it, but they've been doing it for years. Years of consistency. There are people like that, they probably didn't have no more than 2 weeks out of the gym. That's just something they just did innate. So
I think that's the hardest part about doing anything, though, is just starting.
Just starting and doing it.
It's a breeze.
Starting and doing, you got to do that for sure. Every time.
So we're going to get into our next segment. So right now we're going to get into mental health. Growing Painz podcast is based around mental health and the struggles and the difficulties that we all go through to get to find our purpose. Mr. Princeton, first question I got about mental health, and the probably most important question is, how mental health how much of an importance is mental health in your coaching strategy?
It's like the number one thing. It's like number one, because if your mental health isn't right, you can't help other people correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You can help them, but you won't help them correctly. I don't know if you've seen the movie Boomerang. It's a part where Eddie Murphy's character is like out of it because the girl done left him, and he tell the dude, "Yeah, man, do whatever, man. Just go on, do whatever you want." Say, "Whatever I want." He said, "Yeah, do whatever you want. I don't care."
Yeah.
You know, bad decision, and it was his boss, right? But he wasn't in the right mental state, right? He wasn't in the right headspace, and their decision ended up like the Strong J commercial was messed up and stuff like that, and the commercial was way outrageous. It was crazier than anything the dude have done. Like, it was like the worst commercial ever, right?
Yeah.
So like, that's what you have to think about with your personal mental health. Like, am I in the right space? Am I being intentional? Is this the right time?
Mm-hmm.
Like today, when you talk about this, you hit me up yesterday about it. I was like, okay, make sure I'm in the right space. And am I comfortable with this? Is this gonna help somebody? Is this the right time?
Mm-hmm.
And those things are all checked out with me. So I was like, okay, cool. Because if my mental health wasn't in the right state and I was out of it, I won't be able to actually be giving you all of this I'm giving. Like, I'm giving you a piece of me while I'm talking. So when you're not in the right mental state, you just say stuff probably off of a book you read, off of something you've seen.
Yeah.
But when you give me your personal life experiences to people, that brings a whole different level of relatable. You being relatable to them. So yeah, so you tell somebody, hey, I've been here before. Like, I've been here when this happened, and this is where I'm at. And if you think about it, if some of these pastors and stuff do it all the time at the end of their sermons, like, oh yeah, I was this, I was that, but this is what I've become. This basically the same thing you do when you're coaching, but some people don't want to dig deep and be transparent, and that's what hurts a lot of people. In like, imagine a world where people were more transparent about the stuff they went through and how they overcame it.
I feel like it wouldn't be as much of bad things going on.
Exactly. Because at that point it'd be a norm. But now you had this world creating now where you have to be as perfect as possible without mistakes to be at a certain level. So when you do have any mistakes, you have to literally either keep it all the way hush or own them, and then try to put it in a direction for it to be positive for somebody else. But it's so difficult in where we're living now. But for me, I'm fearless with it. I gotta be fearless, because I once wasn't fearless about it. I used to be like, oh man, I don't know if I want to, talk about how I lost this award, talk about this, talk about that, or how I, was working at Kroger at one point and stuff like that. Like, all of those things, I may perceive it as a failure, but the person I'm coaching or something may see that as a win. Like, oh man, I always want to work at Kroger, or I always want to be in the military. Yeah. I always wanted to do 8 years.
And see, that'll be you'll be their inspiration, because they once wanted to do that or still want to do that, and then they see where you are. So I think that's what it's all about, is just being inspiring for other people.
Yep.
So I guess my next question is, what difficulties did you face through your journey that helped you find your purpose in coaching?
Yeah. So for me, my biggest.
Or you can just touch on the biggest one if you don't. You can just touch on the biggest one.
Yeah, my hindrance with coaching. At one point, I was asked early on. Somebody asked me so why life coaching? Like, why is that what you want to do? Why you? Yeah. Why are you that person? And when they said it was like, for Paul, why would you do me like this? Yeah. We're supposed to be cool. But I when they said it, I was like, man, first and foremost, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Off top. If you met me right now and I was in Europe or something like that, they won't guess Memphis.
Yeah.
They won't guess Memphis. Yeah, I'm a product of Memphis, though. I am a descendant of Memphis. I am that. That is what I am. But I'm not the typical Memphis person. But I am a byproduct of this place. And that's what I always strive to tell people. When I got in the military, man, like, that was the biggest thing. It was like, oh man, he from Memphis. Memphis. It was automatic, like he from Memphis. It was like, I'm from Memphis. Like, I mean, I was raised in East Memphis and stuff like that. I know I've had a struggle, growing up and stuff like that. So I get it, but I'm not that. So when I first heard those things, when I first got to my first duty station, don't know nobody. But the first thing they ask you, where you from? Yeah. Memphis. Oh, you from Memphis? For real?
Yeah.
Dang, man, I hear it's tough out there. The first thing they say.
It is tough.
It didn't. And when I first got in, I was saying man and all this stuff. Like my whole articulation was off when I first got in the military, but it got better over time. So now, I'm better with it. But at that time, you could just basically tell me, hey, I'm from Memphis, and then I would like bet that back on you and be like, okay, I'm from Memphis, but I'm from Memphis and I can do this.
Yeah.
And one big thing that I told my friends, I mean, that if you can be successful in Memphis, you could be successful anywhere in the world.
I was gonna say that, yeah. If you can make it in Memphis, you can make it anywhere.
Anywhere, literally. Yeah. Literally. That's one of my things I tell people. You can't just let your situation become you. Like when I first got here, bro, when I first got back from out the military, I only was making like $1,000 a month when I first came. When I first landed on the plane. That was it. When nothing else, no Kroger, no nothing. I got off that plane and I went home and I was sitting there. Mom was like, well, first thing you gotta work. I was like, yeah, I know I gotta work and do something. But I was like, but I'm back here with you, and like I just see this life is like this ain't how I pictured the 27, 8. I didn't picture it that way, right? Yeah. Man, we 3 years after this situation, and we didn't surpass them numbers. So I know that it's all about your mindset. This is mindset, and those initial coaching things. Back to the question, man, is when people ask you why and stuff like that, you just tell them who you are, and when you know who you are, that's it.
They'll know.
That's it. They know. Yeah. Off top, they know. They feel it. They feel the energy. I think that's one of the biggest things. When you doing anything you're passionate about, they see it. Yeah. They're gonna see the work. They're gonna see the work. Like it's people that see me, that see my work. I may not be getting all the likes or follows, but you see me though. And I know you see me. I know that for a fact you do. But at the end of the day, I'm not basing what I'm doing off of what you seeing. I'm doing this because I genuinely love to do it. I remember one time when I was in the military, somebody was like, they're like, yeah, so why are you running for this president, that president, this president, that? Because over my 8-year career, I was over 8 organizations. So I was over organization every year I was in the military. Either president or vice president every year. Yeah. Every year. That's going from being 19 on up.
So that just brought the leadership role that you...
Yeah, that was it. Like, that's what I told them. I said, this is who I am. Yeah. I said, this is who I am. I said, I've been doing this since high school. Ain't nothing new. I just left Southwind. Yeah. I just left Southwind. I just went to base training, got out. Now I'm doing this. And then before I got out, I was leading this whole organization in Europe. The 5-6. I was the president. They voted for me. And then the crazy part about that is when I got voted in, the people that worked with me, it was a big meeting that day. So nobody in there knew me. Probably like one person. Now mind you, it was like 70 people in this meeting. Like
so
60
it was based off of votes, right?
Yep, based off of votes. So I went in there, man. I did my thing. I came out president, bro. Wow. With like nobody in there that knew me. Bro. Yeah, I had like probably 2-3 people in there that knew me. I think they know who they are. Yeah. They saw me and they were people I knew. Everybody else was like, yeah, that's the dude. That's him. That's what I want to represent in my ranks. Yeah. So that's one of them things I always kept in mind, man. On my mindset is how always advancing and evolving and being able to actually segue to the point to where I can be a coach, I can be a leader, I can be all of these things and still be good at them. So, yeah, but the mental health part, just knowing who you are, really just knowing who you are.
Well, this is a great way to bring it to my next question. So, guys, we're talking about mental health. I don't want anybody to feel, this is a disclaimer, I want anybody to feel like there's something wrong with you. If you have mental health just means that you're a special person, that you're meant here to do great things. So, I know you dealt with the military, so that goes into my next question. Do you have any mental things that happened during the military that you may still have off and on that affects you, mentally? And then if it does, how do you handle it, or how do you not make it a hindrance to your growth?
Yeah, I got you, man. One of the biggest things, bro, as far as mental health in the military, bro, is like anxiety. Anxiety. Like, I know I've been talking about this all the time because that's the biggest one. Like anxiety and stress, right? So when you in different positions in the military for leadership and stuff, it's on you.
Yeah.
It's on you. It's you the reason the person ain't get on this plane. You the reason the person ain't got no orders. You the reason. You putting accountability all on me.
Yeah.
Everything on my back. Mind you, I'm not a commander. I'm not over nobody. I may got 2 people under me, but you putting accountability on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna instantly feel that anxiety off top.
Yeah.
Like I
can't mess up.
So yeah, exactly. So that was one of the big. I didn't really understand the concept of anxiety when I was in the military. I just thought it was just normal to like feel a certain way when somebody tells you things like that. Like, oh, this is normal, but it's not. It's not normal. Like a lot of people talk about even keel. Even keel is a hard thing to get. You have to put in work to do even keel. You do. You got to put in a lot of work. But in the military, the anxiety was a big thing. Especially being overseas, man. Korea. Yeah. I was in place deployed. Well, it wasn't deployed, but I was in place deployment. But even with that, like I literally had to put myself in situations that I knew that I was responsible for these people, and I still had to get the job done without rattling like that. Yeah. So now to futuristic futuristic space being out of there, now the anxiety don't happen. So now it's like, okay, this is your job. Cool, what do I gotta do? Mm-hmm. That's fine. Nobody's telling me like, this your fault. You gotta do this or else. But like, that's not happening. Yeah. So with the military, you get all of it. Because the whole thing is, when you get in, they're trying to discipline you. They're trying to just increase your discipline. Because at the end of the day, you're a war fighter. So you got to do the mission no matter what. And that mission, like I said, going overseas, making sure you got your qualifications done, make sure you're ready to shoot, all this stuff. And that's why I liked it. This is why it has to be like that. Like, I understand it from the military approach. Yeah. But when you get out, getting out, you have to understand that life ain't like that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people have an identity crisis when they get out. Because you gotta think about it, people try to retire in 20 years. That's 20 years of your life. I did 8. If I did 8 and I'm just like, anxiety, imagine a person doing 20 and 30 years. Yeah. How they in a higher position than what I was. Mm-hmm. I made E6 before I got out, but there was nowhere near where a commander is or general. Like, imagine the level of stress. At that level. So it's like, they can look like they're okay, but overall, man, they had to do a lot of work to get to that point, because they are probably, when they was like 8 years in, they was probably still trying to adapt to it and understand it. But the biggest thing I do, man, to cope with it, just relax, understand what's in front of me. And that's one of the biggest things I'm learning now, is that don't worry about what hasn't happened. Yeah. Like, if it ain't happened, why are you thinking about that? Yeah. Man, me and my friends talking about this morning. It's crazy. We had such a productive conversation. I keep bringing it up. We were talking about how, like, if we have a goal to have 1 million followers, right? And 1 million followers, your mind right now, man, I only got 20 or whatever. How am I gonna get 1 million? It's like, that's what you think, but it's not even real. Yeah. It's not even real yet. Yeah. It's not even real yet. Your real number in your face, but it's not real yet. Like, it's not even happened yet. So you can't put yourself automatically under the pressure as if you got that 1 million already. Yeah. So it'll be times where I have anxiety to upload content in general. Like, man, what if, because in the military, perceptions and stuff, make sure that you don't want to make somebody mad and all this stuff, so you gotta be careful. But I don't have to worry about that anymore, right? So I take that away. I'm like, Princeton, you having a good heart what you're saying, and what you're saying is gonna help somebody. Yeah. Somebody gonna get help. At least one person. There's really no only one. That's why when I see my views and stuff, I just wanted one person to look at it. And that's it. And everything else is just gonna skyrocket from there. Yeah. So so long as that happens, I'm good. And just make sure I exercise as frequently as possible. Like I try to do 4 times a week. Yeah. Eat healthy. Those things all attribute to this. So this mainly the
what you put into your body definitely affects your mental, and exercise definitely.
Yep, exactly. It definitely does. And just being, and also keeping that discipline too. Like, it can be hard to be keeping your discipline, but keeping the discipline and making sure that you have all of everything under control, that's what helps it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think too, what you just talking to you today, like, you're a mentally strong man, and not a lot of people are mentally strong. A lot of people may be physically strong, but it takes a strong person to be strong mentally up here. And I feel like if you have a strong mental, you can do literally anything and get through anything.
That's definitely true. You can. I'm a living testimony to that. I've had situations, and I talked about one of my YouTube videos how you have to counter your negative thoughts with something positive. It's actually it's practice. It's practice. It's times when you like, man, I'm only doing this.
I can't see nothing positive in it, but you gotta find something.
Yeah, you gotta find it. And that's why I was like, when I was working at Kroger, like when I was praying about it, I was like, God, like what am I learning right now? Like what am I learning? I just went from, you know, this top to my perception was the bottom for me. Like I'm not supposed to be this. And in my mind, I was like, okay, be humble, Prince. I understand it. Jesus was a carpenter, man. Straight up, that's what he was. So if he was a carpenter and he's all powerful, all knowing and everything, right? Why can't I organize these oranges? Let me be real and understand the purpose of it. And I was like, okay, the purpose of this, what I'm doing here at Kroger. And I said this out loud because I was there at 3 a.m. I was like, I'm doing this to feed a family. Somebody's gonna get fed from this food I'm putting out. Somebody is. So, and I wasn't doing purpose. Like everything really did honestly start getting better. Like I got another job, and then I ended up like everything got better. It was weird. It was so weird how it happened, but had to acknowledge that and really understand the concept first. Like, hey, be humble, sit down. That's what that was for me. And I'm glad I had it early on in my life. I'm glad I'm not 50 and having that moment. You know, so that's why I was blessed to have it so early. And I was like, okay, I ain't doing this again. This is the max for me, man. I don't want to go back. You know, so I always try to progress. So, but it definitely helped me understand that a lot, man. And staying true to you and staying true to your religion, you know, that you practice in God and everything, because he lives, man. He's here. He's a real person, and nobody can tell me different. Nobody can, man. I got so many stories. I can go story for days on how he saved me and some other stuff. You know, so it's really all glory to him. Where I am now. When I tell people my life, my real life story, everything, like they just be like, how did you get through that? Like any of that stuff. And I was like, God had me the whole time. That's the only explanation for it. Ain't no way.
I can't explain no other way, but it was just him.
Exactly. And I'm from Memphis too. And I'm from Memphis too, man.
So I guess the next question I have for you, concerning mental health, with your clients that you speak to, or even friends, have you had a client that was real easy, you know, real open-minded to what you were giving them and they were receiving it? And then have you had a client that wasn't so easy to convince?
I had a client that was very open to me and receptive of me, and it was my first client too. He know who he is. But yeah, he me and him talked and everything. He definitely was like, man, like this is helping me a lot. You know, this is helping me, you know, get better and stuff like that. And that session was real in depth. Like it was like an hour. We went deep. You know, it's my whole goal. I gotta go deep. I have to. It's kind of like the surgeon, man. Like if you don't let me get this knife, man, and try to get this stuff out of your heart, you ain't gonna get better. So like you gotta let me in at least enough to get there to that point, to where that pain is at, and we can work through it from there. But the easier clients are better because if they over 25, like talking about, they're 25, they understand that they have to want it, and that's cool. I have had people, like friends, that had, you know, kind of a like receptive. They would, I would tell them something simple to this practice, and they just wouldn't like do it. It'd be like, hey man, this is just really forgiveness. Honestly, what it is. You have to practice forgiveness. And like, well, that's easier to say than do. And that's what they said. And I was like, I understand that, but you have to understand that you say you forgiving that person saves you and them.
Exactly. Yeah.
You didn't save two people in one time by just simply forgiving. And I ain't talking about like, hey, Denzel, I forgive you, brother. No, not that. No, like I do that, and I still take you to dinner after forgiveness. I still take you to that trip to Cali. Forgiveness. That's what I'm talking about. Now I know, hey, I forgive you, I'm done with you, whatever. No. We gonna get through this. I'm gonna forgive you, and we gonna do this retreat. This deep work. Because you made me feel a way about something where I didn't talk to you for 10 years. There's people out here that ain't talked to their parents for years. Ain't talked to their parents for like 8 years, 9 years. They talked to their parents. Their parents still alive too. I ain't talked to them.
That's crazy.
ain't talk to their parents, bro. Like seriously, like this is deep. That's deep.
Yeah.
You don't talk to your mama or your daddy for 10 years of what you do, and you 35.
And a lot
That's
of
cool.
times
I mean,
they misunderstand it too.
Exactly. So when you become 55, they 75.
Yeah.
What's gonna be next?
Mm-hmm.
So you whatever it is, you just gotta look deep and forgive it. It's hard. It's a hard thing. Yes, forgiveness is very hard to do, but it's the hardest concept to teach somebody. It's forgiveness.
Yeah.
It is. It's the hardest one. You can teach somebody to go to the gym, teach somebody to be disciplined, but you cannot teach forgiveness because forgiveness is an eternal thing, very eternal. It's deeper than just
certain.
Yeah, it's not even just it's not even just the face value of it. It's like you have to literally let it go.
Yeah.
Like I have to let this person do what they gonna do and let it go. You know how hard that is?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do.
Especially when somebody you really love and
Yes.
you want them to do certain things, and it's like
Exactly.
It took me a long time to forgive, but once I did get a look at it. And like you said, it's for you and them, but more importantly for you, because whatever God has for you, He wants to give you. But sometimes you have to let stuff go, because that can be hindering you from a lot of your things that you are wanting to do.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Save you from yourself. Save you. It's a saving grace, man.
Yeah.
Like that's the hardest thing to teach people. It really is. It really is.
Well, this wraps up the end of our interview. I'm gonna let Princeton tell you his socials and where you can contact him at.
Yeah, you all can look me up on Instagram, Coach_Blanch, Facebook, Blanchard Coaching Agency, and you can email me at BlanchardCoachingAgency@gmail.com.
All right, man. This is a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir. My first guest. And y'all are tuned into the Growing Painz podcast. Follow us. We'll be having more content and more episodes coming soon. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.
Peace out, y'all.